What is up, ladies and gentlemen, fantasy football fans across the globe? It is the At Home Dad coming at you on my lunch break, like I try to do all the time. Try adjusting the mic a little bit because I got to be able to draft. I currently have a live draft happening right now as we speak. It already started up. Bad timing on my part, but I was running around doing some car stuff, and yeah, life gets in the way sometimes. But we have a live draft happening right now. I am pretty excited. It is a Sunday slate game. I've been doing mostly Thursday night games and not always been able to get into those Sunday games for everybody to see. It's mostly just talking my way through them. But I have already starting off the third round here. I'm going to see if I can get it up for everybody to see. But kicking off the third round, I have the first overall pick, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm going to scoop up the one and only Deebo Samuel. Give me that bike, Deebo Samuel. I am super excited right now because I feel like I never get the first overall pick, and there's just so much of being able to dictate what you want to do when you have the first overall pick. So I took the player that I think is going to be phenomenal because he's usually phenomenal, even if there's a whole lot of information out there about his splits in and out with the one and only Cam Newton. And I'm talking about the superstar running back, Christian McCaffrey, who is no longer listed on the injury report, completely over the hamstring injury, it would appear. So I am super excited to welcome him onto my team, the one and only Christian McCaffrey. And then I followed that up with a little Stephon Diggs and a little Deebo Samuel. And I am very, very happy with the start of my team. And I am one pick away. So let me see if I can quickly get the draft up so that everybody can see as it's happening. I am one pick away here. And I don't know why the mic is like all over the place today. I am one pick away. I've already picked up one running back with Christian McCaffrey. I've picked up two wide receivers with Stephon Diggs and Deebo Samuel. I need a quarterback, a tight end, and one more flex position. And where do I want to go here first? I think I might end up go ahead and stacking right away here because Josh Allen is still hanging out on the board against Indy. That's a game that Pat and I talked about last night in terms of us being able, to, really try and figure out what's going to happen in that game, right? And looking at the Bills having a great defense and the Colts having a good offense but a terrible defense, and kind of figuring out where we might want to go in that game. And so now it's a question: do I go with a wide receiver or a tight end? I think I'm going to go with a tight end here. I think I'm going to sneak it in right at the end of my queue here, and that's going to be George Kittle. I'm going to go ahead and scoop up who I think is going to be one of the best tight ends this week. And Kittle has the potential of being a great tight end just about every week. So I'm excited to be able to welcome him to the team. I feel like I have one of the top quarterbacks with Josh Allen. If not the top quarterback. I love the fact that I was able to pair him with Stephon Diggs very naturally. It wasn't like much of a reach there. So I'm really happy to be able to put both of those players together. And now the question is, where do I go with my my last pick here? And I am definitely looking at wide receivers, and I might do a little bit of a comeback play here since I have Stephon Diggs and I have Josh Allen, and I'm expecting them to score a lot of points. The comeback of that would be Michael Pittman. And I think that's where I'm going to go with this final pick here and try and really capitalize on this game that I think is going to be one of the higher scoring games of the weekend. The over under, let me just pull it up real quick. I think it was at like 50 something when I checked it yesterday. Let me pull it up right now to give a more accurate description of it. But I expect that game to be a pretty decent amount of points being scored, even though the Bills have a really solid defense. If the Colts are going to make that game any type of a game, it's going to be because of Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor. So I'm excited to kind of get a little piece of, I mean, I got 3 pieces of that game. So and it looks like the typical over under is somewhere between 50 and a half and 49 and a half. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot with that game. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to jump into, I'm going to stop my share real quick for the game, whatchamacallit, the team that just finished out. Go ahead and stop my share there and just do a quick recap of it. Um, I mean that team looks pretty solid to me. Christian McCaffrey, Stephon Diggs, Debo Samuel, Michael Pittman, Josh Allen, and George Kittle is what I'm going to be rolling out there. Compared to, I mean, it's only a four person draft, so it's not a huge draft, but it is definitely a lot of fun, I think, compared to the other teams there. I feel like I have a pretty good shot of putting in some work. Some of the other running backs that went off the board in this one: Zeke, AJ Dillon, Jonathan Taylor, Delvin Cook, Joe Mixon. A lot more teams. I mean, it seemed like it was an even split here with teams that took 3 wide receivers versus teams that took 2 running backs. So a bit of an interesting little layout there. Let's see what um, I'm going to go ahead and sign up for. Let's see if we can get into one of the Thursday night rumbles because I've been having some fun with them last week. If you followed along last week, you were able to hopefully win a little bit of money too. I was able to win a decent amount of money. I think I put in something around like 20 something bucks. I don't bet a lot, but I usually throw in a little bit here and there each week. It's what keeps me sane. And was able to pull a decent, able to double up, plus a little bit out of last Thursday's game. So I'm hoping to do a little bit more of that. So, real quick, we're going to talk a little bit of where you can find me on the Twitters. You can find me at FF the At Home Dad. You can also find our typical show, which is the GX Fantasy Facts. You can find that on Twitter at GX Fantasy Facts. You can find my co-host, Dynasty Pat, where we do our show usually Tuesday nights or Wednesday nights. You can find him at Dynasty_Pat. Make sure you give us all a follow. Make sure you get yourself over to at Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code FAQS, that's FAQS. We will match up to $100 of your first deposit. It is a phenomenal deal. You need to take advantage of that, especially if your team is kind of circling the toilet right now, about to get flushed, get knocked out of playoffs. Take advantage of it. It helps you have a little bit more fun as you round out the football season because each week you get to have the fun of a draft, or you get to jump into some of these pick'ems, which are absolutely one of the funnest things to do, where you just pick the over-unders on guys' stats. You parlay them all together. Maybe not allowed to say parlay, but you put them all together, and it multiplies out. So if you pick 5 different kind of prop bets, you can win 20 times what you deposit, and it's a hell of a time. I enjoy it greatly. So make sure you get over to our good friends at at Underdog Fantasy and check that out. All right, let's see here what we got going on. And we are already in our Thursday night play. And I am excited for what we have going on already here. Man, it is so tough because I want what I want to have happen versus what I kind of hope happens are such different things. But I'm going to go ahead. I picked up Kyle Pitts. I picked up Nelson Agholor. I think those are going to be 2 guys that it's tough with Pitts because it is a very strong defense. With the Pats, it's going to be tough for him to kind of get his. But if anybody's going to get it, in on this Atlanta team, it's going to be Kyle Pitts or maybe one of those random wide receivers who's going to get to, maybe 2 touchdowns. That's kind of what what seems to happen each time with these with these wide receivers for Atlanta. So let me go ahead and pop this up on the board. And Ramandre Stevenson did go after that pick. I was kind of hoping he would continue to fall, just with the fact that it's really difficult to tell whether or not he's going to get any playing time if Damien Harris plays. He had a phenomenal game. Ramondre Stevenson had a phenomenal game last week, but that game could be a very, you know, it could be a flash in the pan, right? And so that's kind of what I'm nervous about with this upcoming game for him, is if that was a flash in the pan, what does that mean for him in terms of um what does that mean for him in terms of his staying power? And let's see, the guy that I wanted just got scooped up in front of me. I don't like this matchup that I feel like I have to go with here. But I am going to go ahead and pick up Kendrick Bourne. And that's going to kind of round it out. That one went really super fast. I was not paying attention, and it started off kind of without me. So I'm going to try and jump in one more. I'm going to share my screen for it real quick so you guys can see it as I try and get one more of these Thursday night rumbles up and going too. Um, this is where I need my co-host in here helping me out with some of these as well. Let's see here if I can get this up on the board for everybody real quick. And share. There we go. All right. So came out of the second spot. Like I said, got Kyle Pitts, got Nelson Aguilar, got Russell Gage, got Kendrick Bourne. This is the type of team that it could turn out pretty well for me, or it could just be a complete bust across the board because there's no running backs in the mix. And it's going to be completely hit or miss, that lineup. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful with that one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try and fire up one more of these, and I think that's probably going to call it a day for me. But yeah, we're going to see if we can get one more Thursday night rumble in. And again, a lot of the guys that I'm kind of looking for on this Thursday night rumble, I think Damien Harris is probably going to be one of the top guys. I think if you get um, if you get if you get a couple of these guys that are questionable, that's going to be who ends up winning this game, who ends up kind of winning this Thursday night rumble, because that's what you're going to get, right? It's the question mark of, do you play Ramandre Stevenson over Damien Harris? Are you going to put Cordarrelle Patterson in your lineup, who's questionable for tonight's game? Are you going to put like a Hunter Henry is honestly a pretty solid play there, but I mean there's a lot of question marks there. I'm not excited about Mike Davis. I'm going to let somebody else pick him up. Let me go ahead. We just fired it up. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to be drafting out of the second pick. So last time around, that got me Kyle Pitts. I want to see where. Nope, I don't want to share a video file. Not that. I want to share my screen so that you guys can see what I'm drafting as well. Come on now. There we go. All right. So I want to let all of you be able to see what we're doing here. Let me get into it on my other computer as well, because it's going to be starting in 2 seconds. Another thing that I love about these underdog drafts is they're so fast. Like there's literally like it's something you can do, and you can get like 5 of them done in a matter of minutes. It's a great time. They're so fast. It's so much fun. Let's see here. Yeah, I think your best options here are really, Kyle Pitts, Jacoby Myers, I think is a pretty solid pick. Ramandre Stevenson's Ramandre Stevenson just went as the number one, which to me is going to mean I'm going to go Damien Harris, play a little bit of game theory here. If they're going to overspend on Ramandre Stevenson, I'm going to spend on Damien Harris and see kind of what we get out of this in this second spot. And I am going to pass on Kyle Pitts and Jacoby Myers as two of the top guys there. But Damien Harris, he had, what was it, just a concussion, and he cleared protocol. So he should be back and be in that lead position, which honestly hurts a little bit because I really wanted Ramandre Stevenson to be something a little more lasting, and I just don't think he's going to get the opportunity with Damien Harris coming back. Although that could play out completely different tonight. It could play out Damien Harris starts off a little slow, and Ramandre Stevenson gets a little bit of that shared work and kind of takes over. And then I'll have to eat my words, but we'll see what happens tonight. With this next pick, I'm going to go ahead and pick up Hunter Henry. I think he's the next kind of highest pick here. And now it's a matter of, can I wait for a guy like Cordarrelle Patterson? And it looks like I'm going to be able to. And I mean, Mike Davis is still there. I just really don't like that at all. Russell Gage is there as well, but Russell Gage, I feel like, continues to just kind of disappoint. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a home run play here and see if I can. Maybe I'll try and sneak in Olamide Zacchaeus first. Even with that, though, Tajay Sharp. I think I'm just going to go with Cordarrelle Patterson and pick up whichever of those wide receivers are kind of left hanging around. Because if Cordarrelle Patterson does play, he's a steal in this third round. Because if he plays and he's able to do what he's, done in the past, he's been able to be a running back one, like the best running back on the week, not just like a top 12 running back, but a top running back on the week. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop him up. And now I'm faced with the same tricky situation of, do I go with Olamide Zacchaeus, or do I go with like a Tajay Sharp or even a Mike Davis, who has just been abysmal recently? And I can't do that. It's either I'm going to go with Olamide and hope that he gets a healthy dose of some of this passing attack, because I do feel that the Falcons lose this game, and they lose it pretty handily. So I'm hoping that Zacchaeus gets a decent amount of just receptions in order to make him a worthwhile pick there. All right. So final roster: Damien Harris, Hunter Henry, Cordarrelle Patterson, and Olamide Zacchaeus. There we go. There is your hashtag lunchtime live draft. Just a quick look at the schedules for this week. Tonight, obviously, New England going to visit Atlanta. New England has a very tough defense. Atlanta has a very weak defense. So I definitely think that New England's going to come out of that one alive. Not a ton of fantasy goodness coming out of that, but just a fun way to get into those Thursday night games. A game that is worth targeting, though, is going to be Houston and Tennessee. If you can get a hold of some of the players in that game, I think you're going to be pretty happy with it. Houston, obviously, a terrible defense. Tennessee being a defense that can give up points to the quarterback and the wide receiver. With Tyrod back for the Texans, hopefully he plays better than he did when he first came back, and maybe that opens the door for Cooks to kind of regain what he was in the beginning of the season. And the Titans could kind of do just about anything they want against this Houston defense, who has been allowing teams to do whatever they want against them. Another game of just terrible defenses is Miami and the Jets. The Jets will be starting Joe Flacco, so woof on multiple accounts there. And there's probably some fantasy goodness to be had there, especially in some kind of tournament options, because no one's really going to be going, ooh, I am so excited for this guy on the Jets. It's just not going to happen, which means that a guy like Elijah Moore could be a nice little play. A guy on Miami like Waddle, probably a little bit pricier, but could be a good option as well. A sneaky play like Miles Gaskin could be another really nice play because the Jets are the number one defense in allowing points to the running back. So Gaskin is a nice little play there, especially in some of those tournament type of formats. And then one other game that I think is going to be a game that people can take advantage of is going to be the Philadelphia New Orleans game. New Orleans has been giving up points to the quarterback and wide receivers, which means good news for Hurts and Devonta Smith, especially. And the Eagles have been giving up points to quarterbacks, running backs, and especially the tight end, which the Saints don't really have a tight end, so that's not that helpful. But the fact that the Eagles are giving up the 11th most points to running backs, and it looks like Kamara is going to be back. Ingram is going to kind of continue to, play his role. It could be a really nice game for both of those guys, and it could mean that Kamara, coming off an injury, could have himself a very nice little welcome back party. So, with that being said, it's been 20 minutes of my lunch break. It is time for me to scarf down some food and unfortunately get back to my day job. Pays the bills, doesn't bring the thrills like fantasy football does. Until the next time, catch you on the flip side.